All right, everyone, it's Simply Bitcoin, the channel that breaks down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, the meme review, software releases, the websites by plebes. And today joining us is Nomad and fellow Bitcoiner, Katie the Russian. What's up? All right.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Pretty excited about the meme review.
Cool. But first, we're going to kick it off with the numbers. So we are currently at a block height of 672,752. Current Bitcoin price, 49,055. Chain rewrite days, 612. Total lightning capacity, 1,095.25. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, pushed back up 8.14%. And sats per dollar, we're not below 2K, but we are at 2,039. We're drifting down.
Those numbers look phenomenal. The Bitcoin is just eating everything. It just keeps on going higher on that Bitcoin versus gold market cap. Absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately, no Satoshi the Bitcoin chicken, because he only clucks when the price of Bitcoin reaches all-time high, which it isn't today, but I suspect it's coming very soon. I don't know. Anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Fail. All right, guys. Today's Daily Fail is brought to us by this random dude. Who just popped in and decided to shit on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a bubble. It makes sense to ride the bubble as long as possible. Just get out in time. Watch out for a little boy yelling, "The emperor has no clothes." Okay. So there was, we're obviously going to post a link to this crappy article in the show notes, so people can have a good laugh. But again, this is just totally regurgitated FUD. And it's just so sad because for those of us that have been here before, it really is the same playbook. This is like the same playbook, and they just kind of change up some words and some names, and boom, we've got narratives. Anyways.
I have a suggestion for another daily fail. I don't know if you guys had it before, but the Peter Schiff "I was wrong" tweet.
Phil, do you want to pull it up?
I'm sure Peter should have been on your daily fail too many times, but we should give credit to his "I was wrong" tweet.
Awesome.
So that he goes as like this: "Congratulations to those who bought Bitcoin early, pumped up the price, and who've been dumping into the hype. You succeeded in getting Wall Street to buy into the mania. When I first learned about Bitcoin, I didn't think smart investors would be dumb enough to buy. I was wrong."
Man, crushed. But listen, it's so funny because if you look back on his timeline, like if you look at the years, he's been screaming at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin just doesn't care. It just keeps going, right? And it's just, man, two awesome fails today. Thanks, guys.
He's the worst.
Yeah, Peter Schiff, man. Anyways, he's going to have fun staying poor. It's going to be fun to watch. We're going to cover it here first on Simply Bitcoin. Anyways, it's Katie's favorite segment. It's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody. The meme for today is brought to us by a Simply Bitcoin meme lord. Check this out. Brought to us by Greg Zag. Is that all you need? The Bitcoiner says yes. And the Fiater, because that's essentially what he is based on the things that he has, says more stuff, new cars, shiny new things, new clothes, exotic things. You guys could read it. Awesome meme, a bit of an art piece, but I had a feeling, I suspect our guests might appreciate that. But anyways, from me, Phil, after careful consideration, I'm going to give it this 3D printed box. What about you?
Very nice. Okay, so obviously I love the symbolism behind it. I think it's incredibly accurate. I think it's been accurate for a very long time, and it's only becoming more and more accurate as time goes on, right? People just fill their lives with a whole bunch of useless crap, and at the end of the day, like really all of that useless crap, it doesn't accrue any value, and it doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form in the future. It just is meant, to fill this instant gratification. So I'm going to go with, what? It's a solid watermelon. Very watermelon-y.
I love that score. Awesome score. I think that was the first watermelon we've ever had on Simply Bitcoin.
I think
what
so.
about you, Katie? What would you give that meme?
This meme would be really proud of me right now because I'm sitting on the fucking floor. I ain't got a chair in my office just yet because I just moved in a couple of weeks ago. So this meme would be proud of me. So I'll give this meme a proud ranking.
Proud ranking.
Proud
Okay.
ranking. Very nice. That's our first word-based ranking, or like, what do we give that one? Right?
It's I like it. I like it. It's a word based, and you know that on the Simply Bitcoin, our official rating system, you know that word rankings supersede the icon rankings. So I think that's a phenomenal score. Anyways, a bad joke. Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody, the news for today, and I kind of wanted to cover this segment, especially because we have Katie on as a guest. And look, I know that if you guys have been watching Simply Bitcoin, you definitely have picked up on this pattern, right? This pattern of the official narrative versus the truth. You know, Phil just did a daily fail on it. And look, guys, look at the headlines. They speak for themselves. I don't even have to explain it. India might ban private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and develop a national digital coin, right? And Yellen sounds warning about extremely inefficient Bitcoin. So if you read the headlines, and you would think like, you know, this Bitcoin thing is horrific, right? And you see the New York Attorney General, there are extreme risk in investing in virtual or cryptocurrencies, and it's imperative that we act to protect investors' wallets, right? It's all about the investors. I'm warning New Yorkers and investors across the country that investing in this unstable market is not prudent and could cause devastating losses. So if you would listen to the blue check marks, like we like to call them on Simply Bitcoin and Yellen, right, you would think that this Bitcoin thing is horrific, right? Of course, the Bitcoiners are there, you know, sounding off the truth, which is completely just telling her to have fun staying poor, which she will. All of New York is going to have fun staying poor, especially with the bit license. And then on the contrary, which is what I want to speak about today, you kind of have the game theory of Bitcoin playing out, right? What happens if some jurisdictions are unfriendly to Bitcoin? Well, other jurisdictions are going to be very friendly to Bitcoin. Here was the Miami mayor on an Axios clip. Here's him talking to a reporter. Here we go.
Right, a lot of headlines because you suggested, paying municipal workers in Bitcoin, putting some of the city's reserves in Bitcoin, letting people pay taxes in Bitcoin. Isn't that risky? And tell me, how would that work?
Obviously, anytime you invest in anything, of course it's risky. Absolutely no obligation whatsoever for any of our employees to do that. In terms of the investment part, we invest in a variety of different commodities, whether they be, sugar, pork bellies, whatever the commodity may be.
Well, sure, but none of those other commodities fluctuate 10, 20% in a day the way Bitcoin does.
That's why it's something that we're studying, not necessarily something we're jumping right into.
I want to read you something that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said. Bitcoin is an extremely inefficient way of conducting transactions and is a highly speculative asset. I mean, so when you hear that from the Treasury Secretary, doesn't that make you think twice?
It doesn't surprise me at all that a Treasury Secretary would find a decentralized potential currency to be hostile to a currency that they control. For people who invest in Bitcoin, the allure is precisely that it's not backed by a central government, so it's not manipulatable by a central government.
You're talking about investing government resources in this completely decentralized resource, which scares people a bit.
Does it scare you? I guess it scares you.
I don't live here.
Okay, I guess it scares you.
It doesn't scare you.
I think it's something worth studying. I think it's something worth studying and worth looking at.
So many things, right? And then on the cusp of that, after that interview, you have Cynthia Lummis, which is the senator that joined the laser eye meme, and she said, "Forward-looking leaders at all levels of government are seeing huge potential at our doorsteps. Wyoming is leading at the state level. Now Miami's leading at the municipal level. Nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. Come on in, the water's fine." She is absolutely right. And if you see the contrast between this side of the government versus this side of the government, you see Bitcoin's game theory just working perfectly, right? Because unfortunately, if one jurisdiction, not unfortunately, awesome for us, if one jurisdiction makes it hard to transact in Bitcoin or to hold Bitcoin or Bitcoin unfriendly laws, what's going to happen is another jurisdiction, this time in the same country, is just going to say, like, look, Bitcoiners, come here for Bitcoin. Coming here for business. I apologize. And man, that's just going to create this. Bitcoiners are going to be benefited just how the system's shaped. So, man, it's just awesome to see it live playing out in that interview. Exactly. It's the blue check mark talking to the orange pill person, and it's hilarious to see, man. And we're going to cover it here first on Simply Bitcoin. Phil, I want to get your thoughts, and then our guests.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just don't understand the mental gymnastics, from the New York, what was that, the Attorney General, this business about how all, they're so caring and, oh, we care about the investors and this and that. So last time I checked, investing is risk taking, you know, so they're like this business that where they're pretending to be looking out for your best interests. This is absolute mind fucking. Okay, like I'm sorry, if you're going and putting your money in, into investments, I'm sorry, like, come on, there's all kinds of penny stocks out there. They're complete garbage. You're gonna tell me these people are sitting there looking out for everyone? Like they're not. They're essentially, what they're doing is that they're trying to create the link, right, between these speculative garbage things and Bitcoin, right? Like this is what happens. Like, so they do this back and forth, and eventually people that aren't paying attention start to create the link and are like, oh my gosh, it's a scary speculative thing. It's what's really scary and speculative is the money we have right now. So,
but Phil, isn't it going, like, I don't think that's sustainable, because like it's going to get to a point where the cities that are friendly to Bitcoin are going to be the most thriving, and the cities that are unfriendly to Bitcoin, man, they're going to have fun staying poor, So like, is that possible over a long period of time?
Well, I think that's where we're going to start to maybe see division, maybe that ends up happening. Maybe we start to have division amongst the states. I could tell you in Canada, like Alberta's been trying to separate for a long time. Quebec has been trying to separate for a long time. Like, I mean, look, at the end of the day, regardless of what their reasons are, if somehow Bitcoin enables this, I think it's going to become a reality.
Absolutely. So Katie, does this surprise you at all when you see the mayor of Miami just saying all that stuff on an interview?
Honestly, the mayor surprises me. The attorney general, I'm Jack's complete lack of surprise. And the whole idea behind governments is to control you in any areas they can. So by taking out your responsibility on them, but also taking your opportunity from you to them, they pretty much, like, the more responsibility they take, the more responsibility you give up, the more control they have. So we lose the sovereignty in every aspect of our lives, and now we're completely reliable on them. And that's the end of the game for us as individuals, and that's the goal for governments, because that's how they stay alive.
Absolutely. So it's crazy, and it's so scary thinking about that. And you saw the hypocrisy, exactly what you said, Phil, the hypocrisy and the New York Attorney General's tweet. We just saw the Wall Street bets thing play out in front of our eyes. You didn't see her saying anything about, a supposed stoppage of trading. Nothing, not even a tweet about it. But if it relates to Bitcoin, which is a threat to their system, all of a sudden it's terrorism, right? So,
you know what?
Yeah.
If they were, the reality is that if it was a whole bunch of retail investors getting wrecked in that whole Wall Street bets thing, you wouldn't hear a peep. Nobody would give a shit about, the retail investor. Oh, well, yeah, you should have been careful.
So, and another thing that I also wanted to talk to you about, Katie, is this idea of, Bitcoin's just going to flow to the jurisdiction that has the best laws towards Bitcoin, the best Bitcoin friendly laws. That also applies to people as well, right? And then we've talked about it a lot on this show, this idea that you're just going to go to the friendliest places, right? So do you think that's going to start accelerating as the bull market, as time progresses as well?
Absolutely. It's never been easier to pick up your wealth and go. And me as a twice immigrant, like, I've done it. It's nothing scary, especially if you're traveling with your wealth. And people are just going to start doing it. And like, we all read Sovereign Individual. If you guys haven't, please do so. And it's pretty much Sovereign Individual thesis starting to play out when, like, the jurisdiction start to compete for your wealth. And it pretty much engages the free market that we've never seen between jurisdictions, between the state. And I hope it's going to lower the power of them and incentivize them to be more reasonable to their citizens, to be more efficient, to actually provide services that I would value myself. Because right now I get nothing from state that I can't get myself. And I would rather opt out and take care of myself if I could. But they pretty much try to, gather you in any areas of your life possible and be a gatekeeper on all these things. So yeah, Sovereign Individual it is. Let's make it happen.
I think you're absolutely right. And, and you're seeing it play out. You're seeing it play out exactly what Katie says. You're seeing it play out before our eyes. You see two different political ideologies. Again, we are very apolitical on Simply Bitcoin. Our political party is Bitcoin. Okay, that's all it is. But unfortunately, in this specific situation, one political party is going to have fun staying poor, and the other is going to prosper from, potentially taking the orange pill. Phil, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, not really. I think we summed it up really great. It's just there's gonna be big winners and there's gonna be massive losers in all of this, and it's all about essentially paying attention to what's going on around you and seeing what's up ahead.
Absolutely. That being said, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, it looks like we've got Umbrel version 0.3.6 that was released, and that is down below in the show notes.
All right, guys, that was our show. I had myself unmuted. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to our awesome guest. You can find out more about her. She has some awesome content on Twitter at Katie the Russian. Super awesome. You can check out her website, Plan B Passport. Limit your dependency on any one particular state. That's exactly what we were talking about today by obtaining a second passport. Katie will show you how to do that with a free 20-minute consultancy. Super awesome. Guys, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the episode, you know what to do. Smash that like button. If you love the episode, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.